Dort. Down to Dort. This is Lee Dort, and I'm down to dunk. This is Lee Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
I'm Josh Giddey, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, this is Kenny Hustle, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Darius Baisley, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Poku, and I'm down to dunk.
I love cereal. Captain Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cracklin Oat Bran.
Oh, I can have these. I'm gonna share with my team, but I'm gonna hog most of them.
This is you, man.
Good morning and welcome to episode 142 of Down to Dunk. You can find us on The Athletic and anywhere else you subscribe to your podcast. Go to theathletic.com/down to dunk and get The Athletic for $1 a month for 6 months. I am Luke. This morning, my Andrew.
I gotta say, I'm just fired up to be here today. Pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. Woo!
Slam through.
Taylor. Futures made us virtual insanity now always seem to be governed by this love we have for useless twisting all new technology. Oh, now there is no sound. Slap through. And Jay.
Thanks, Luke. Right on time, baby.
That's a great song.
That's such a good song.
Man, he's sliding around that room.
Oh, yeah.
How do they do it? They still don't know.
Virtual technology. Virtual insanity.
Wow. Shout out to Miguel de Vela, who is listening from the Philippines. It's evening there. Morning here, evening there. And OKC Thunder.
I did. You just couldn't hear it because
he did. Yeah.
It's Jay.
He did. Also, someone named OKC Thunder, which could be the whole Thunder team, says good afternoon from Greece. So,
dang.
Why are they in Greece? Who are they scouting?
Poku's stepbrother.
Or Giannis, the lost Giannis brother.
No, don't do it. No. All right. No Thunder news that has not been covered has happened.
Yes.
We do have the 12th pick, which we haven't talked about in the show that happened.
Shaedon Sharpe.
Shaedon Sharpe, which
is officially in the NBA.
We preemptively talked about it last week, and it was correct. It just never made sense for him to go back to Kentucky. What?
Nobody ever has this opportunity on the horizon and says, you know what? One more year of college.
Let me delay it for...
I could be a top 5, 7 pick
right now.
Or I can go play for Kentucky and underachieve.
And maybe he is not good. Like, there's the possibility that he's not good. That he's not going to be a good pro. And he shows that at Kentucky. And then what?
Yeah, and then you lose.
You think about
then you're PJ Boston and you get picked.
Yeah,
50th.
I was about to say, there's always that guy. Even Patrick Baldwin this year. If he would have been able to go straight from high school to the pros, he probably would have a higher NBA thought. People would think of him higher.
Or if he sat out. If he just sat out the whole year, people would be like, this is a lottery pick. He's huge. He can shoot. This is great. Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Good choice, Shaedon. But there is playoff basketball.
Oh, some good ones.
There are some good ones.
This first round.
It's been so
first
fun.
round game.
What's your favorite series so far?
I don't know. They're all pretty fun in their own way.
I have outrageously enjoyed this Mavericks Jazz series just because it's essentially the Mavericks role players beating the full strength Jazz.
Yeah.
Where it's just like this is
everything everyone says about the Jazz all year long.
It's crumbling
every year.
I mean, I sat down, I did like my own bracket, and I sat and looked at that one for a long time because I'm like, the Jazz on paper are so much better than the Mavericks.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just something you're just like, I couldn't write Utah on it. Like I just couldn't do it.
So I haven't watched any of that series because I genuinely have a disdain for the Jazz.
Yeah,
it's actually a great series to watch because you have a disdain for the Jazz.
And it's always the one that's like playing simultaneously on NBA TV.
Yes.
For me, and I'm just pulling for the Grizzlies for a lot of reasons. And so that's the series I've been watching, which last night
Holy smokes.
most definitely paid off.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves came out on fire and then completely fell apart in the fourth quarter. And the Grizzlies won by 10 after being down 26.
Yeah.
The Wolves are going to be the Wolves. Karl Anthony Towns had 4, but we'll save that for a little bit later.
You
4
can
shots.
go ahead, hit Tayshawn's right now.
Tayshawn's factoid victory.
Because we've already talked about it.
Tayshawn's factoid victory.
Karl Anthony Towns sucks. I would be so mad if I was a Minnesota fan. I would be. There was in the fourth quarter when Towns was gonna take a 3, pump faked, defender was in his face, so he travels, right? They go straight to a Minnesota fan, and he looks so sad. They're not even mad or angry. He's just so depressed and sad. And that is the Towns experience when games have mattered with him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been so long. He took 4 shots last night. Took 4 shots. That's like the guy that the Wolves have been building around for the last 6 years now. He took 4 shots.
Oh, Russell Westbrook would have had 30.
He took 4 shots. You know who took more shots than him?
Jared Vanderbilt.
Everybody else?
Nazir Reed took 1 more shot than him in 10 minutes of play.
I love Nas. I'm a big Nas Reed guy.
You know who else played in this game? Greg Monroe played 6 seconds in this game.
Took more shots.
He took 80 shots. No, but Russell took 21 shots. Here's a stat for you. 4 times 5 doesn't even equal 21.
Wow. That's math.
That's called a stat.
It's called straight math.
Anthony Edwards took 13 shots. He needs to get more shots off in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Why are the 2 best players on the Wolves not taking freaking shots? Anthony Edwards plus Towns field goal attempts. Here's another stat. Does not equal D'Angelo Russell's field goal attempts. That's insane. That is insane.
That's a problem.
Especially in a game when they are up so big and then Memphis is coming back. Get the ball to Towns and Edwards and have them do
They
some
just let
stuff.
go of the rope like completely.
They did.
They lost physicality within the game. They lost everything.
Karl Anthony Towns was also out on the bench for a large part of that because of foul trouble. Him and Jaren Jackson Jr. So Chris Finch after the game, because somebody asked him that, like, why in the world would Cat only have 4 shots? And Chris Finch immediately blamed or gave credit to the defense of Memphis, where like they're just swarming him all across the. For me, I'm like, that's a weak excuse.
So weak.
You think he's the first player that has been the focal point of a defense?
Yeah, Dirk Nowitzki only averaged 3 points a game in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, they double Jokic. Look at Jokic. Look what Golden State's doing to Jokic every single play.
Exactly.
Jokic gets the ball, double team every time.
The thing is that you can run another action after the first one.
Right. Yeah.
And I think the other thing that's for Karl Anthony Towns, the thing that is the craziest about that is he's the possibly, if not the best shooting big man there's ever been. He won the 3-point contest. So minimally, okay, so they're swarming him down low, and so he can't get easy looks at the basket. Use him to spread the floor. And then get Edwards to move toward the basket. Like,
it's crazy. And he was 3 of 4. It's not like he missed all 4 shots.
Yeah.
I would rather have been, if I was a Timberwolves fan, I'd rather his stat line be like 3 of 12. Or 15.
But
I have this picture to show you.
It's so sad.
Of this guy.
Everything that Cat has done tells us, like his whole career, is that if he had 12 shots, more than likely he's going to shoot 50% on those. Right? That's the thing, is you just have to figure it out. It's not an excuse to say that they're defending it well.
Yeah.
Let alone the fact that they're defending it. Like Jaren Jackson Jr. is a good defender. He's obviously a good rim protector. Brandon Clark is the other guy they're using a lot on him, and then but he should be able to do more.
It's not like he's new to this team. He's been there the whole time. It's like you should know how to use Cat in all these different situations.
Yeah, but
Towns, you should also know how to do
some
it.
Of that's on
I think all of it is on.
There's
him.
an aggressiveness
all of it
that
is on him.
He lacks as far as getting his own shot. I think you'll see it in Game 4. I don't think it'll matter. I think the Grizzlies will
Yeah.
they're so demoralized. There's no way you leave that game and you're like, all right, we'll see you in game 4. Like, nope, they're going to come out flat.
Yeah, I mean,
as
that
can be.
video of him saying, like, they're in Minnesota now, they're in our house now.
Yes, that's great.
And then he just doesn't take shots? What kind of leader is that? Listen to this.
He's not the leader.
Yeah, he's not.
Pat Bev's the leader, which every team that Pat Bev's been a part of, that he's been the leader, even though he's 5th best player on their team. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, when he's bringing the ball up the court, when it's Pat Bev bringing the ball up the court, you just know that there's a problem. Like he needs to be the wing spacer too.
Yeah.
That's what his skill is. It's not being a point guard. Like, why are you letting Pat Bev initiate the offense? Like that also killed me because that happened a lot last night.
Oh yeah, he was taking a lot of like relief shots too for that team. Listen,
during that third quarter run, they took some of the dumbest shots. Just some of
and they also just started missing everything too. Like Anthony Edwards had a few wide open threes that he didn't hit.
Beasley too.
Beasley
was
like
They went on like a 21-0 run.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
it was what the Memphis outscored them 47-13 or something in the fourth quarter.
Let me find it because
here while you're looking at that, listen to this. This is from StatMuse, which whatever about that account, but this is interesting. Karl Anthony Towns hasn't scored since 6 minutes and 49 seconds left in the first quarter. Then the next time he made a shot was 3 minutes and 36 seconds into the fourth quarter. That's 38 game time minutes.
That's
between
unbelievable.
That's
and my guy John Krasinski from The Office. That guy. The Wolves. The Wolves were up 25 with 3 minutes to go in the third. Memphis closed the game 50-13. 50-13. That's
which the thing about it is we knew the Grizzlies have that in them, right?
Yeah.
And they do that. And one of the things that you constantly hear about the Grizzlies is they struggle in half court. They benched Adams.
Yeah.
Which is wild. It's like didn't even talk about that. And I
shout
can't
out to
imagine
Jenkins
that feels
on
great.
that one. Yeah.
Probably smart.
Very smart.
Although it didn't really work well for their starting unit in both the first and second half, but it eventually towards the end, it really worked.
Yeah.
So, but doing that and watching this Grizzlies team, like one of the things that they did is they started getting, and Desmond Bane, man,
he was awesome.
He's got a wild, I mean, I can't get over how small his arms are, but he just shoots with unbelievable confidence. And they were getting him where the defense wasn't able to set up. So it wasn't necessarily transition, but it was definitely one of those things where it was early enough in the shot clock. And when he started hitting, it was like, and it's going to be.
And that's just a dude that needs like no space to get a shot off.
None. It's because he's got tiny arms.
But they're very big. It's like all his arm length goes to his bicep.
Yes, he is. Anyway, but he's he's awesome. Dylan Brooks wasn't great and hasn't been great, which I was always kind of a Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks has a very Russell Westbrook-like demeanor about himself. Like I've always thought that about Dylan Brooks.
I kind of feel like he
hit
scores
that
like
huge
Dion a
three
little
in the
bit.
fourth.
He
but
did.
before that, he was kind of
He was not good.
Yeah. That, oh my God, that three came right after Towns traveled too with like a minute.
That travel where it was the up and down travel where it's like, oh man.
I mean, he's done that 1,000 times though. Normally he just keeps that foot down, but apparently he did not that time.
That was like
complaining. Cat's complaining makes me the maybe most uncomfortable in the league because he's like, and here's the deal. Like, I actually have historically liked Cat, and you know, the Thunder have played him so many times.
Yeah.
And he normally destroys us, right?
Yeah.
Like almost always. And but man, that was not his. This has not been a series that is really from the beginning. That Clippers game, he was non-existent in that game.
Yeah, he fouled out.
Yeah. But even before that, he was just they just shut him down.
Yeah.
And so apparently the Grizz took that blueprint and were like, all right, good luck.
Would you trade him for Siakam?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you think the Raptors would do that?
I don't know. But if you're the Wolves, that would be way better.
Even though he's old?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
And then you could use Naz Reid, I guess, more.
Yeah.
You're big.
Do you think Siakam is okay? This is a bad question.
No, I don't think they would. I don't think the Raptors would do that. I'm just trying to think of like what trade would make sense for Towns.
I don't think they move him.
I think they probably should though.
Yeah, if you could get something really good, I'd build around Ant and somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I feel, and
Grizz are not.
let's transition it because I
Wolves
felt
are
the
not
same
gonna
way
do
about
it.
the Jazz last night. When you
Yeah.
watch the Jazz without Rudy, like the paint opened up, Donovan Mitchell was able to get where he needed to go on the court, and you just think if you were able to distribute that talent in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
maybe things would be a little bit
And
different.
defensively too, they kept talking about Rudy Gobert's back on the court, and their defense has really been locking down the Mavs. And they just adjust the way that their guards are playing,
Without
and then,
question.
and then they
And they-
easily score.
And then they pulled him again. And then they
Yeah.
pulled Rudy
How many
again.
times have we watched Rudy Gobert? Now, here's the deal. As far as a shot blocker, rim protector, he's the best in the league still.
Yeah.
He's the best, best drop big in the league. Easy.
But that is not something that really has sustained in the playoffs. Like, it doesn't matter, because if you can get to any sort of floater mid-range shot, Chris Paul just embarrasses Rudy Gobert every time they play.
Yeah.
And so they know what to do. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you can, if you attack and then draw back to where he's out of position, and you can shoot the mid-range. It's why OKC could not punish Gobert.
Who are the centers that actually matter in the playoffs, that like really perform and need to be there the whole game? It's like Embiid, Jokic, maybe DeAndre Ayton, depending on the situation.
Aiden. Yeah, I would say Aiden. But he functions well within their team.
Right.
Like, he fits their team. If you threw Gobert on the Suns instead of Aiden, we'd be having the same conversation
and
about
Ayton
him.
can pick and pop. He can do all sorts of stuff with whatever
Yeah,
guard
he's a
screening
far
for.
more versatile offensive player, and that's what you have to have at the big position. That's why it's like you look at guys like Chet versus, I don't know, what's the guy
Duren.
from Auburn or Duren or
Yeah.
Walker Kessler,
Yeah, Walker. Yeah.
and then Williams from Duke, where it's like those guys are spot guys. You can't,
Yeah.
if you're trying to base your you just get ready for smaller lineups, because you have to have a diversified offensive game.
Yeah.
That's what makes Embiid incredible. He hit a stupid 3-pointer to win the game against Toronto in overtime,
fun.
right? Like,
Yeah, that's
Jokic
ridiculous.
can do everything. He can
So
run your
fun.
point. He can play your high post. He can play your low post. It's like you have to have that, because Gobert is just showing, and which leads to the question, like, what opportunity is out there? I know that people have always talked about how he'd fit with the Hornets. That's the one that people keep going back to, and that's because the Hornets have historically never had a big that mattered.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the market for Gobert this offseason if they try to move him?
What about Gobert for Towns?
I don't know, man. I watched them last night. They need to get more shooting if you add Gobert, but
Or
the
or
Jazz
if
would
they-
love that, I think.
Or if they play Gobert, like, okay, yeah, you can come here, but sometimes we're gonna play you 10 minutes.
Yeah,
in a
what they
game.
did with like what Steven Adams had to have,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
Gobert's not going to handle that. Has he shown anything
No.
in his career to make you think he has the self-awareness to be able to say,
He's part of why the Jazz locker room is falling apart.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, are the Jazz gonna lose Donovan Mitchell because of Gobert?
I think the Jazz are. I think that Danny Ainge is going to just completely
up.
pull apart this team this summer.
well, and then David Thorpe, I don't know if you heard this. I think it was on Zach Lowe's podcast where he had mentioned that, like, there's an understood pretty much from everybody that Quinn Snyder is going to leave this offseason. I'm like,
Yeah.
where did I?
San Antonio.
Dang. Oh, really?
What would make sense? I
Yeah.
actually think San Antonio might make sense for Gobert, just because, I don't know. I think about the international and the French connection and all those different things, which is also a movie, I think, right?
It is.
Yeah.
A lovely one.
Anyway,
A lovely one.
I don't know. I don't know what you do with that team. Everything you do is Donovan Mitchell. All right, so let's reset this. And you have some pieces. I don't know what their draft capital is going forward. But that is a team. I don't know what they would have that OKC would want per se, but it is a team, like, if they're trying to amass some sort of assets to recreate the team. And Sam has worked with Danny Ainge before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that could be a team where like I said, I don't know what you would want from them, but for a draft pick that they could use to get somebody that fits better, or I don't know. That's just a team that might have some availabilities for trade partnerships this offseason. So
Outrageous hypothetical. Sam Presti calls us into his office and he says, "Hey
Perfect.
guys, listen, I'm going to make a trade this summer. It's going to be for Towns or Gobert. I have all the assets for them. You have to decide which one, because I can't figure it out.
He can't decide. He needs.
I
us. His
don't
brain
know
trust.
who do you guys want? We need you guys to decide." And disclaimer, this is not going to happen. The Thunder are not going to make a trade for either one of these guys this summer, even if both are available. people are going to be going wild on Twitter about it. Don't be the person going wild on Twitter about it because it's not going to happen. However, hypothetical, still in play.
Towns.
We have to pick one. Yeah, probably Towns. Just the
Go
skill set.
Gobert.
Give me your Gobert argument.
Because I just feel like we have always needed a really good center that we like can play because we have things where like can't play Perkins, can't and so can't play Cantor, can't play. We needed one that's really good. That's why him.
But wouldn't you want Towns as the offensive player, like the guy that can space?
Yeah. No.
No.
Also, I feel like we just made the argument for why you can't play Gobert.
Oh, I'm ready. We can. We can.
Oh,
They
can.
can't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would. I guess I would say Towns. But that video from last night, I'm just done. I'm over it.
It's pretty bad.
That's. Did you see his stuff like throughout the year too? He has some streaming channel.
Yeah, he's very, very corny.
And
he is very corny.
he's clearly tried to be more of that like alpha guy since the Jimmy Butler
It's
thing
just not
happened.
him.
It's
Yeah.
so fake.
You can't change who you are. Like
No.
ultimately, like he is who he is,
Yeah.
but that's okay if you go to a team that has a clear organizational like culture that doesn't
Mhm.
depend upon him.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like you don't know what Towns would. I've had this argument with anybody that goes to the Kings where it's like,
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton should be thankful. I can't believe he was sad that he left Sacramento because
Mhm.
how many times have you seen a guy that goes to an organization that's dysfunctional,
Mhm.
unhealthy, and they never can be what they potentially could have been, right?
Mhm.
That's why for me is I'm like, if Karl Anthony Towns is drafted by, insert whatever other team, if he's drafted by Portland or if he's drafted by San Antonio,
Mhm.
I don't know if we have the same conversation about him.
Yeah.
And the thing about Oklahoma City that would be encouraging, and it's not going to happen, just clarifying, Karl Anthony Towns is not coming to the Thunder, is what is he at that point? The third leader on the team behind Shea, Giddey.
You probably put him behind Shea, that number 2.
Yeah.
And like,
I don't know. I think Giddey may ultimately be one of the more vocal leaders on the team.
Yeah. Kenrich.
but another guy
Right.
that,
Yeah.
another guy, Jay, that
Poku.
went to a dysfunctional team,
Definitely not Poku.
never lived up. Is
100% not Poku.
not Poku, is Wiggins. And now that Wiggins is on Golden State, I was
Mhm.
watching that game last night and just
Mhm.
thinking like that I respect that player so much more now.
Yeah.
On
I
Golden
mean, he's an
State.
all-star starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But the bigger
Even
difference-
But
outside
like
of
he's
that,
making these plays that are they
It's-
just make
that's-
so much more sense.
That's the point. Like that's
coaching,
like
coaching,
yeah.
coaching
That's the point.
culture.
Yeah.
But the other thing about Wiggins is the fact that he transitioned away from being the guy.
Yes.
He wasn't the guy. He never was the guy. Like we figured that out pretty early on in his career in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had to pay him like the guy because this is what happens with the guys you draft that are the number one pick or the guy you get traded.
Yeah.
He's just not the guy. And
Yeah.
when he went, and now he's what, the fifth best player?
They're so freaking.
So if you had to
elite
trade,
all of a
if you had to
sudden,
trade Jordan
yeah.
Poole or Wiggins, which one would you trade?
Wiggins.
Right.
Oh my god.
Clay, maybe Clay. I know the injury is such a big deal, but
Yeah.
Clay's
He's
Clay.
just such a nice luxury.
and obviously
to
Steph
have.
and Draymond, you
Yeah.
wouldn't do. But
Like Clay now has gotten to the point with that team that anything Clay gives them is just
yeah.
bonus now.
you almost just like out of legacy alone can't trade him.
yeah, you can.
So I'm going to ask a question to all of you guys, just since we're talking about the playoffs. So if you look in the first round so far, everybody that's played, how they've played, has your like the Suns, Devin Booker's injured. They
Mhm.
lost game 2 to the Pelicans. I think they'll rebound tonight, and I think they'll beat the Pelicans. But if you kind of were going to reseed your opinion on what the future of this playoffs looks like, is anybody kind of elevated themselves by the way they've played in this first round that makes you think, man, maybe with somebody else's injuries plus their way they're playing, like, because I think about that with the Warriors. I'm like, the
Mhm.
Warriors may have become the favorite in the West.
And
Yeah.
and we kind of said that like the Warriors, it wouldn't be crazy shocking if they ended up in the finals.
Yeah. No, it would not be. That's who my wife
My
picked.
wife. Really? Your wife picked Golden State?
So is there
yeah.
anybody else? Like, what about Boston?
Yeah, but
But
we said
people had
that
a high,
too.
yeah, people had a high
Yeah.
opinion of Boston.
Yeah, Boston's great. Dallas is one that now with Booker gonna
Mhm.
be out for a little while.
Yeah.
Luka's gonna come back in this series against the Jazz, and they're gonna beat the Jazz.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be rested
Yeah.
before this next series, because this Pelican series, like the Pelicans could get one more from them. Like I would be surprised if Utah got one more. You know,
The good thing about a longer series for Phoenix, because if they win it in 6, it goes another week. Devin Booker's got one more week. You know, like it does create some space for him to maybe get right.
It does.
But man, a lingering hamstring. It's the same thing with Luka. Like a lingering calf strain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing that Dallas is seeing is, you know what? Like, we can beat the Jazz without Luka. Like, don't even play him. Even if he's well, which apparently he's getting close because he's doing warm-ups and he's, close.
Bring him off the bench.
Yeah.
And like almost like
don't even play him.
Do you need him?
No.
Like if they're down by 10 and like the third
throw him
quarter,
out
whatever,
there, win the game, move on. Yeah.
It's funny.
That'll be hilarious if they did that.
Because I think this, and the reason I bring that up is I don't remember a playoffs that had this much parity.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
even
it's
look
been
at
a
the
while.
East. Like, how much do you believe in the 76ers right now?
I believe in them way more than I did
Way more.
a week ago. Yeah.
They really look very functional. and
Super
very-
smart people were picking the Raptors to win this series.
Yeah.
And now
Which
they're down
that
3-0.
that may have been a little.
Oh, people.
Now we're looking at it and we're like,
Smart-
maybe we overthought
the
this one.
Raptors
Some of it's, I mean,
are,
Scotty Barnes is gone.
Yeah.
but the Raptors are the NBA smart guy team.
Yeah.
And they probably should be, right? Like Nick Nurse is that guy.
They're
way
good.
they
Like that's
organize
a
their
good
roster.
it's a
Yeah.
good basketball
It's
team.
good. But another team that is, I mean, the 1 seed in the East, the Heat, they're the 1 seed in the East.
and
had-
nobody's paying attention
had
to them.
terrible injuries all season, still got the 1 seed in the East.
Yeah.
And they look good.
Yeah.
They're good. Also the Hawks.
Cacao.
I have a deep dive.
Hold on. I gotta make sure it's the right one. Oh man.
Okay.
Nope.
This is fine.
No, is that fine?
Yes.
Okay.
You done?
Sam Presti gave his little speech the other day, his interview, 2 hours, 3 hours long.
It was a
however long.
movie.
It's a movie.
The Sam Presti movie.
Longer than, someone tweeted it's longer than the Batman. I don't know.
2 hours. It was 2 hours and 13 minutes.
I
I
don't think
sat
that's
there the
long.
whole time. Had to pee.
However, this is what I would tell you. He told a very nice story about the day of the Russell Westbrook trade. He's, in his feelings. He hears a ball dribbling. He goes and sees SGA late at night practicing. My position on this is that story is not true. Did not happen, at least the way he told it. I would like to try to convince you guys this. That is my plan.
Interesting.
One, I have photographical evidence. One, Shea posted a picture on July 12th, 2019. He's still in California. He's still in California. He posted it to Instagram. Still in California. The caption, no savage. Okay? You're telling me, oh, wait, maybe that's an old picture that he's just posted from the days before. Second piece of information that tells me that story is not true. July 12th, 2019, the day of the Russell Westbrook trade, is SGA's 21st birthday.
Oh,
There is no way he is that it. One, he's not having his birthday party in California where he lives, where all his friends are and where his family is. Second, he is not going to be practicing late at night on his 21st birthday where he has places to be, things to do.
Wow.
That story is not true. Have I convinced you?
yes, you convinced me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in now.
Yeah, I don't think it's true.
I don't think it's. Here's my only thing I would say is it doesn't have to be in. That could be a story
It
that
feels
existed.
true.
No, it could be a story that existed, just not
Oh, yes,
tied to
I
the
agree.
Russell Westbrook.
I don't think it happened on that date.
Yeah.
I think it happened the weeks
It
after.
seems almost impossible that it would happen on that day.
It's just like too cute by half. Like if you would have left out one piece of information, like oh, it was that week, and I heard that, I was still feeling let down by it. And it happened. I would
Right.
believe it, but the way he told it, I was like, That's not true.
Yeah, this is incredible, man. This is
L-Man's
your best.
deep dive.
This
This
is
is
actually a deep dive.
Everything
your best
checks out
deep
too.
dive
I see
ever.
Andrew over here trying to fact
And
check
I
you.
went-
You are
Just making
correct.
sure.
Here's what I
It's
did.
all right. It's all
I
right.
went back and looked at the Thunder's tweets
Yeah.
from that time period.
Yeah.
SGA's tweets from that time period. No reference. No reference to him already being there.
Yeah.
And I don't think it happened.
If it did happen, do you feel better or worse about Shea that he's on his 21st birthday dribbling a basketball?
Worse, weird behavior.
I don't like that. No,
Worse.
I don't want that. No.
Weird behavior.
No. Weirdo. Psycho behavior. So
Okay.
there it is. Didn't happen.
Wow.
That was
Breaking news.
That was really good.
I know.
All right.
Wow.
We'll be right back after this quick break.
Can we trust Presti?
And we're back after that quick break.
If he can lie about
If he's
that,
lying
what else
about
can
that.
he
What
lie
else is he
about?
lying
What
about?
else he lied about?
Now it's time for some Twitter questions. Nope.
Yeah, I was like, when's it coming in?
Sorry. Now it's time for some Twitter questions.
Twitter questions. You got questions and you ask them on Twitter. Now we answer them for you. This is Twitter questions. Now let's get down to it.
I cannot get over how you stumbled into the end of that because it
No,
does
it's-
not make sense. It's like
No.
there's an extra measure in that song.
It was great. Funny story. My kids come into my office all the time and put headphones on and listen to all the drops. They just love to come in here and they get on the mic and they're just messing around. They can all sing that song. They all know the Twitter question song. They were both, Asher and Archie were in the back seat of the car the other day singing the Twitter question song.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's
Did
really funny.
It's very catchy. I heard
It
it
is.
twice and I knew the song.
It's
great
a
job,
good,
Luke.
it was a God thing,
was
like
a God
Luke said
thing.
last week.
Came just
The
came
God
to me.
thing.
Let's do our first Twitter question. It comes from @Tank for Banchero, who says, with Shaedon Sharpe declaring, does it make you guys feel any better if we fall to 6 or 7 again?
Yeah, I mean, a deeper draft class is better for a team that is terrified it's going to fall in the draft.
No, not terrified. Certain.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, because if you wind up at 6 or 7, you're probably going to get one of AJ Griffin or Shaedon Sharpe. And
It's a not as awful consolation prize.
yeah, it's not horrible. It's not what you want. It's not the level of player that you want, but but those kind of players certainly fit a need with the Thunder. Shaedon, to me, Shaedon less than AJ Griffin. I feel like AJ Griffin's style of play fits the Thunder way better. Shaedon is, I from what I've seen and what I've read, I'm not sure how well he fits with this current crew of players, or how many, like, McKelly and I are doing the Thunder After Dark NBA draft series, and like part of what we're doing is like how many Thunder boxes does Shaedon each player check, and I need to do an L-Man style deep dive to see how many
The hard part
boxes
about
that he actually
Shaedon Sharpe
checks.
is how do you do that? By looking at high school film?
It's more. I think it's more of talking to people
Yeah,
that have
know him.
that know his game, because with every other person, like, I've got film on everybody for days, but with Shaedon you don't. Like, you can watch his YouTube highlights, but like, honestly,
I did last night for a minute, and I was like, "This does nothing for." Wow, he can dunk the ball. That's
here's
great.
all of his good plays. Like, I want to
Yes.
see his bad. I want to
Yeah.
see, like, well, what does he do to mess up? Like, how is he not good? Like, where are his weaknesses?
And I have plenty of opinions about AAU ball, but I don't know. It's hard to get a real good gauge on, like, does he take plays off? What's his effort level
Yeah.
on defense?
Right.
And that's what, like, one of the things that is also a good reminder about the draft process is, and Sam did talk about this, which whether or not it's true, who knows? But when Wiggins came and interviewed here last offseason, when he was just like blown away.
It was in Chicago.
Yeah, in Chicago.
Mhm.
And just blown away by just the way he answered those questions. Like, it is more for a guy like Shaedon Sharpe, any of the questions that we have about him, it's the way he handled this whole transition thing has been weird, and you know, is that an indicator of a character, or who knows? I don't know. But they're asking, they don't just, the good thing is Sam Presti doesn't evaluate talent based on YouTube highlights, right? They're going to go and meet this guy. They're going to watch everything. They're going to talk to everybody.
They're going to have him work out. They're going to,
without question,
yeah.
all of those things. And so that's it. This is why you have to just trust their informed decision making, right?
Yeah.
Versus like, well, we really like Shaedon because he's tall and he's long and he can potentially shoot.
And he's Canadian.
Yeah, and he's Canadian.
Yeah.
So anybody on that list that you are, I know you're doing this, and I don't want to spoil anything for people who are subscribing or should subscribe to the Dream Team, but
I don't know.
Anybody that is rising in your own personal board,
I'm not that
falling,
far. I'm not that far
Okay.
yet. Like I've watched all these guys some, but I haven't watched all of them in like detail yet. So we'll get there.
You're a big Keegan Murray guy.
Big Keegan guy. I like guys named Keegan.
Keegan's a fun name.
I got a friend that's named Keegan.
Congratulations.
He's a great guy, man.
What's his last name?
That's a
Murray.
great question. Myers. Took me a second. Sorry.
Yeah.
Keeganson.
Hey
Keegan
guys,
Kegel.
let's move on to our next Twitter question.
Hey,
Comes
do
from-
the top one. Do the one that's at the top.
I did.
The one that's above Tayshawn's factoid.
Oh, it comes from I am Kev bot. Sorry, didn't see it. Who says, can you rank the Thunder roster in terms of trade potential? Obviously, it would never trade SJ or Giddey, but I'm curious what you think other teams value our guys at in case of a trade up scenario.
Who's next in line? Dort.
Yeah. So it's Shea.
Mm-hmm.
It's Josh. It's this year's draft pick. Is next. It's the Clippers pick next. It's Rockets pick next. Then probably Dort,
Yeah.
right?
Three opportunities come before Dort.
What about Trey, man? Trey, man.
I don't know if there's enough there to match his actual value yet. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
He's still unknown enough.
Yeah.
Even though the potential of what we saw is like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
this could be great.
Yeah.
Now, do other teams feel that way about him?
Right. That's as a Thunder fan, we feel
Probably
that
not.
way.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, he was taken 18th in the draft.
And that was, according to most people who we trust with the draft, like that was still
A little bit of a
higher
reach.
than,
However,
23, 27.
He's proven the things that
oh, yeah.
that people would want to see. And the thing is, like, every NBA team has like a body of work on Trey since he was probably 16 years old.
Sickos.
So, so you have to factor that in too. But if you had to trade, if you had to trade one, Trey or Dort, who would it be?
Oh God.
See, it's a tough question
Dort.
because I don't.
I'm just more excited about man at this point.
It's the unknown. I mean, it's not fair.
It's also the skill set
Dort
too.
is.
It's not an.
People forget that Lou Dort averaged 17 points per game this year.
Oh, definitely. And also, people forget he scored 30 in a game 7 of a playoff game.
Yeah.
As
But-
a rookie.
Yeah,
Well,
that's insane.
and he's gotten-
Unsigned free agent
and-
rookie or
and
undrafted free
He's
agent.
gotten way better since then too, because the
Yeah.
only reason he scored 30 is because
Nobody played
he
him.
will take open shots.
Yeah.
Like Dort will take open shots, and they left him wide open. They're like, Lou Dort, God bless you if you beat us, you know, but he didn't, and you know,
I love Dort though. I do think there's part of us that has like kind of moved on or gotten bored by Dort.
yes, I think that's right. I would say Dort over Trey,
Yeah.
just because I think that you think about this year's playoffs. You could plug Lou Dort on every single team in this playoffs.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like would Trey play on any playoff team?
That's a good
Like,
question.
would any team bring him on right now and say, "Hey, we need you to play 15 minutes"? Like, I just feel like the answer is no.
You know what team does make me like Trey Man in my head fits on the Mavs? But I think it's because the Mavs always have that guy.
I was gonna say he is kind of a Mav.
Yeah.
I'm
You
sure the Bucks would take him now.
Yeah, but would they play him? I just don't
mean,
know.
I don't
feel
know.
like
They
they're
played
about to get
Bryn
real
Forbes.
desperate. Yeah.
Huh?
They played Bryn Forbes.
Well,
quite a
Middleton.
bit.
How long?
I know,
is
but like
Middleton out?
he's a vet.
Yeah.
He's out at least for games 3 and 4, probably longer. Yeah,
That's a
I don't
game
know.
changer for the playoffs. By the way.
it's a big one. It's a big one. Listen to Slam Jam tomorrow. Nikias Duncan from basketballnews.com is going to come on and discuss all those things. Should be
Ooh.
fun.
Hey guys, let's move on to our next Twitter
Did we answer that whole question?
question. I felt like we
I
did.
think we kind of
yeah,
were
who,
trying not
who
to.
trade rank people?
Is there anybody else that has
No.
that would have value?
Kenrich
Kenrich for sure.
Yeah, Kenrich.
and probably Muscala.
Yeah, Muscala
What that
could
value
get you
is,
a
I would say.
second.
yeah.
You could get maybe a late first for Kenrich. You could get a second for Muscala.
Okay, then this is a good opportunity to talk about Poku. How much value does Poku have on the trade market?
It's not a lot. I wouldn't say none.
He's not going to get you a draft pick.
What team is he playing on?
I don't know. I don't know what other teams think about him. I'm not saying you're going to get.
I can't imagine that they think much differently than most of us, where it's like, well, there's something there.
Yeah,
Who knows if it'll ever be
But it's like-
discovered.
Unless you're the team that drafts him, why would you put that much into his development?
Well, so
Yeah.
one of the things to at least be fair about in that evaluation is the fact that Oklahoma City was not the only team that was going to potentially draft Poku in the top 20.
yeah,
Right.
they wouldn't have traded up.
You know, so
but you don't trade for a guy. You draft a guy like that, but I
Mhm.
don't feel like you trade for a guy like that.
no. I
Yeah,
don't
you
think
waited.
so.
You waited out.
Yeah.
You see if maybe he, after his 4th year is done, and then you can
Yeah.
give it a whirl.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't trade for him. I agree with that. And then everybody else is just like, there's like interesting guys on the team, but there's nobody with real value. I mean, like Vít Krejci and Roby and Ty Jerome, and even like maybe Aaron Wiggins is a guy that could get you a second just because he's kind of an interesting wing, but probably not. I mean, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
It's too early for guys like that, it feels like.
Yeah.
And with
it's-
JRE is he was injured for such a large part of the season where I think people forget about him too. Although NBA teams aren't going to do that. Like, hey, we know who this guy is.
It's just going to be
yeah, he played
It's gonna
50
be-
games.
at least interesting to see how many of these players we've talked about the last 2 years are just not going to matter at all.
Well, and
for the
not going to be
Thunder's
on the
future.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just not even going to be. We're going to realize, man, we probably spent way too much time talking.
They don't
about
have
this
any
guy.
roster spots for
Yeah.
a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, if they draft 4 guys, 4 of the guys that we've talked about all season are just going to be gone.
Well, and the thing about, as I'm processing this question, is the thing about Wiggins and JRE is every team had a chance to draft them. So did they do enough in this season to make them passing up on them in the draft something that they wish they didn't? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like they've all been evaluated. They've evaluated all of these guys.
Mhm.
Now, did they perform on the NBA level better than they were evaluated to? I think Wiggins, we would definitely say that. GRE is an unknown. I think early on, we were all pretty excited about what he did and what
Yeah.
he brought.
Mm-hmm.
And I still would land. I like both of those guys, actually. I like all 4 of the guys they drafted last year. But I don't know. I don't know if I think it's too early for any of them to have really any sort of trade value.
Yeah, they didn't. I think you're right. They didn't do enough. And it's also it's early, but it's not too early to up your trade value from where you were drafted. Like Herb Jones, if they put Herb
Mhm.
Jones
Right.
out there,
Without question.
he would get a first round pick.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
So
But you have to show something
you have to
different
be
than where you were, right? Like,
right. I think that people would say like, yeah, 32nd pick was just fine for Jeremiah.
And I think the distinction as well is the fact that Herb Jones is doing it in a lot of games that significantly matter,
Right.
right? Versus, I think we've talked about it. Is this good stats, bad team kind of guys? And could that be what Wiggins was? JRE, like,
Yeah,
I
you
think
don't
there's
know.
at least, I think people at least are going to evaluate it through that lens.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Hey guys, let's move on to our next Twitter question. It comes from @Bangelope, who says she's going to the zoo today for her daughter's field trip. Reminds her of when she was little, got to sleep over at the Phoenix Zoo when she was small. What's your favorite field trip you ever took?
Easily my favorite field trip was in college when we went on that charter bus for what was that class called?
Was it geography or geology?
I don't know.
Are we talking about the same one?
Yeah, where we went all over the state of Oklahoma
Yes.
on a charter bus
Uh-huh.
and went to we left at like 6 a.m. and didn't get back to Stillwater until like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. But we went to like the mountains in Oklahoma, the desert in Oklahoma, the caves in Oklahoma. It was easily the most fun field trip ever.
And the best part of that was someone filled out all the answers because you're there the whole day having to fill out this thing that you get a grade for. And someone just passed back thing that just had all the answers on them and pass it back. And then we're just like,
yeah,
Amazing.
it's great.
it was wonderful.
I remember it being fun, but I don't remember anything about it.
You don't?
No,
It's
not
very
really.
fun.
I remember it being fun.
Robbie Spencer was there. Who else was on
See, the thing I'm afraid about this is I think there were 2 separate trips, and you went on the first, and
I
I
think
went on the
that?
second.
Robbie and I went on the
and
first one.
everyone
Yeah,
was
yeah,
on
yeah.
the first. And
Yes.
no one was on the second with me.
Yeah,
and
you
it was
should-
me and like no one.
Yeah,
pretty
I
rude,
think
Luke.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes,
And so I heard
that is
about how
right.
fun it was from you guys. and I
We
went,
had
and I
an
did.
awesome time. I think Robert Riggs was there too. Yeah, we
Yeah.
had an amazing time.
Yeah, all
really
of you guys.
missed out.
Yeah, you really.
Luke's favorite part was getting all the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just not. That was not mine. It was not my favorite one because all of you guys weren't there.
What
I
was
didn't
yours?
have any friends. I remember I stayed the night at the Omniplex once when I was really little, but I woke up in the middle of the night and didn't know where I was. It was very scary.
That's a terrifying.
That was
place to
not it.
sleep.
In middle school, I went on similar like Oklahoma trips to like Great Salt Plains and like caverns, wherever those are.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. There was like one teacher for like 30 kids, and it was like not very well supervised. and
Yeah.
It was very fun. One of the kids drove the bus from the middle school to like forgot his wallet. And the guy was like, here are the key. The teacher was like, here are the keys. And
Yeah.
the person took the bus, drove to his house, got his wallet, drove back. I was on the bus with him. They just let him. It was dangerous.
Different times,
It
man.
was fun. Dangerous.
I was gonna say, like,
Yeah,
even this story that Penny brings up, I'm like, there's no way kids are staying at the zoo anymore overnight or at Omniplex or whatever. Like,
They do have that for Omniplex, I
they
think.
do.
You can just make that MTV videos all night.
you'd have to have
Wild Thing,
So
that's the only
many-
song.
You'd have to have a lot of volunteers.
You'd have
Yeah.
to have at least one for every 2 kids.
No, there's
think.
actual ratios out there. It's like 1 for 5, or
Yeah,
depending on age, it could be one. It can be 1 to 10.
Who's setting these ratios?
Yeah.
Well, there's a thing called Safe Sanctuary that we use with our CDO. And
Oh.
anyway,
Oh.
so and that may just that could just be a
Sanctuary.
Methodist thing, to be honest. But I know that there are schools have that too. in
Safe
some
Kids,
form.
yeah.
Safe Kids. Yeah. So I don't remember a ton of. I mean, we did the stereotypical ones where we went to the Omniplex, or the Science Museum, went to the zoo,
Yeah.
but I don't remember many of them. We'd go to like ranches and stuff and play. That's all I
Yeah.
remember.
Del Rancho.
Yeah, Del Rancho, and eat steak sandwiches.
Place is good.
On that same trip that I was talking about, I
Yeah.
bought this. We stopped at like a gas station, and all got candy and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I got this candy that was like a red gel that was in a tube, and you just squeezed it out, and it was candy.
Juicy Drop Pop.
I don't know what it was called, but
Juicy.
what I did was I stuck it out the window and just squeezed it all out. And if you've been in a bus and you do that, the air sucks it out, but all the windows are open, so it sucks it back in.
Yeah.
And so I looked behind me, and there's this kid just going like, ugh. And all of it went all over his
Oh
face.
no!
Uh-huh.
I had a very similar situation happen on a road trip with my family. I was feeling really sick, and so I was just holding my spit in my mouth, just pooling it in my mouth, and I was going to spit it out the window. We're on the highway. I spit it out the window. It is a, I don't know, 9 ounces of spit. I spit it out, and my
9 ounces of spit.
That was a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And I spit it out, and it just immediately just out right back in all over my sister's face. Just
Oh,
and she's
that's-
back there just
That makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. On those trips, I was so jealous of the guys that brought their Game Boys and Pokemon. They got so much good Pokemon playing in.
Oh,
All right, let's go to our next Twitter question. It comes from Tyler K. Field, who wants to know, draft lotto party next month?
We will have one.
We're trying to iron out details.
Iron on details.
Iron.
Around.
Through. We're letting the iron go right through the
Okay.
fabric.
Whoa, now that's hot.
Do you iron?
Do you iron?
I mean, you have to. It's one of my least favorite things to do.
There are people that love to iron, you know.
Yeah,
We bought I have a steamer,
Mhm.
yeah.
which
Does it work?
doesn't. It's not quite the same.
It doesn't work like you
It can
want
it can
to
work out. It can work out some wrinkles, but it's not
Yeah.
going to press it the way an iron can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same.
I just throw it in the dryer.
Doesn't work.
Yeah,
It works some if
It
you
depends
put
what
it
you're
in the
wearing.
dryer with a wet towel.
It
You need
works.
the
It just
humidity.
depends what you're doing. Like if you need a pressed
Right,
button,
That's true.
You can't. Dryer doesn't do. what
Or
it
like
needs to.
slacks.
Slacks.
Trying to get that line.
Yeah. Trying
Yeah,
to get that
is the line in or out?
It's out.
Because
It's out. It's out.
I
It's way
definitely
out.
took a pair of slacks for Easter to the dry cleaner, and they pressed a line in. I was like, why?
I do feel like for Easter attire, line is in.
I wore white pants on Easter.
You gotta.
Did you really?
Wow.
Oh,
That's the only time I wore them for 1 hour. Put them right back on the hanger, and I was like, I will wear these again next Easter.
I put
Because I
a.
will ruin them.
I took I accidentally I grabbed up all my clothes and took them to the dry cleaners, and I accidentally took a pair of shorts,
Mhm.
athletic shorts. They pressed the line into it.
Into your athletic shorts.
It was the nicest pair of gym shorts I've ever put on. Phenomenal. But they'll do it if you take it there.
It's a
So
very proper workout.
I gotta go. Last question that you
7:30.
comes from @so dang close, who says, since there's almost no way OKC uses all of their picks, what do you see being a more likely use of the Thunder draft chest? Moving up for a top 3 pick or waiting till competitive to go all in for a star?
The beauty of the draft war chest is that you can do both.
Mm-hmm.
They have enough to be able to trade for a lot of players and move up in the draft. I mean, you really hope they can move up in the draft this year if they don't get lucky.
Ugh.
I mean, the real hope is they get lucky. The second is that they have the ability to move up in the draft, because it's not just dependent on how many picks you have. It's dependent on whether a team would want to trade the pick for multiple assets. And not every year is that a thing. Last year, it wasn't a thing.
I think a sliver of hope in that is that this year it could be a thing, because there's such a uncertainty about who values whom. I don't know which one is the correct use of whom values whom. Those top 4 picks, if Houston doesn't like Chet and they get number 1,
Yeah.
is there a chance that you could utilize some of that to move up, give them back their next, the pick that they have?
Mm-hmm.
And that depends on how Oklahoma City values these guys. What's their big board look like? And so I think that it's just so unlikely in a majority of so next year, if it's Wembanyama, right? This guy that everybody is assuming is the number 1 draft pick. People aren't going to give that up for your
anything.
protected first round. Now, if you start getting wild and start unprotecting, but when does Sam ever do that?
Maybe you do that for one of those players where you just believe that we're going to be at least in the back half of the lottery, if not, in the playoffs. Even so, if whoever gets the number 1 pick next year, if you're like, hey, we'll give you 3 unprotected first round picks and Giddey for the number 1 pick, they might just say, they'll probably just say no. We're not going to do that. We're not going to trade the potential of
A
this
generational guy for
Yeah.
what could be 3 number 15 picks or whatever.
Yeah.
Or worse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Like the Suns. Sam wasn't I'm assuming Sam isn't really wasn't counting on the Suns pick being something, but I don't think he would foresee that it would be the last pick of the first round when he traded that.
Yeah, I don't
traded
think
Chris
so.
Paul for it.
I don't think so.
You're maybe hoping it's in the 20s or 15 or the
Yeah,
teens, but
Yeah, I was thinking the 22nd pick or something like that.
but at the same time, you aren't planning for this year's Clippers pick to be 12.
You just don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. Miffed?
Miffed, and peeved.
I got so many bad looks from old ladies yesterday. I don't know what the deal was
Mm.
yesterday, but there's a certain look or a two that old ladies give you when they're annoyed, and they're almost kind of shocked. They look at you like, I'm so shocked that you made me feel annoyed right now. I was just terribly annoyed. In the car, just old ladies looking at me weird. I don't know what the deal was.
doing?
What?
I have no idea.
Were you wearing something weird?
No, I
Were
was
you-
just wearing normal clothes.
Really?
I don't know what the deal was.
Really?
Old ladies were just
Something
Off
on
their
your
rocker
car that
yesterday.
would be offensive.
It was anything. It was
bumper
on the
sticker?
phone. It was in emails. It was out in the car. I don't know what my deal was, but I swear, if an old lady does that today, I'm gonna really shock them. I'm gonna punch him in the face. I'm gonna give it to him.
Thanks for listening to our podcast.